You know, it's like there was a fad a few years ago for these TV shows where the moms would switch houses. They'd find two families that were different, and the moms would switch places. And what they would do would find two families that were crazy in opposite ways. And then when they switched their craziness and kind of came into contact with each other, they kind of said, oh, we're crazy. And they all were better off. That was the show. But one thing that would always happen, almost invariably, one of the families, it would be the woman who does all the woman's work. And the guy, he's very proud of the way he's earning a living and doing all the hard work. And then he trades with a woman who maybe is a businesswoman or just believes that she's supposed to be pampered or whatever, and he has to do the work for a while and finds out how hard it really is. And so one of the commenters was sometimes not doing the work is the best way to help people see what's going on. And you can imagine Mary and her sister, probably her little sister, because if Martha opened her home up, then she was probably the oldest. She has her little sister and Jesus here. If she had just said, you know what, I just can't do this anymore. I'm tired. I've been scrubbing pots and cooking and cleaning all day. I can't do it anymore. What would have happened? You think Jesus would have yelled at her? No. A number of things might have happened. It might have turned out that all the work she had already done was enough. It might have been that Jesus would have performed a miracle, like asking some of the men to help. It might have been that everyone could have pitched together. Maybe Mary and Martha would have traded places for a while. Who knows? The thing when we talk about Mary and Martha, it's not just about outside work and busyness versus coming close to Jesus. No, because that's not where the gap happens. The gap happens when Martha got so caught up in her work that she lost track of the relationships. Not just because she's yelling at her sister. And no, she asked Jesus to yell at her sister for her. That's something Kate actually pointed out to me. She doesn't actually ask for help from Jesus. She doesn't ask for help from her sister. She tries to kind of go around and turn into this indirect thing. You know, help. And she also forgot that the relationships were there, that they would help her. And that's where she got stuck. She got trapped in the trap of, I got to get it all done myself. And you never do. And it's okay, even in church, to just stop and say, I can't do this all. And to trust that God will provide what is needed and who is needed. This is a quote about entertaining in the home that I really like. It's something I heard on the radio. This woman is she's like a gourmet chef. And when she suggested some Christmas recipes last Christmas, she suggested chili and potato skins. And they said, well, that seems a little basic. And this is what she said. Your guests will have a much better time if you serve chili and baked potatoes than they will if you serve roast duck and then lie down and cry. It's not the work so much as the spirit that comes through that really matters. And that's true in so many areas. And that's what the story is about. That as you open yourself up in all sorts of ways. You know, I didn't know we were going to have this funeral when I started thinking about this. You can apply this to church if you want, but if you do, you're missing out. Because this isn't just for church. This is for our whole lives. You know, in this transformation process we're going through that has produced all of these new things we're doing, the guy who ran it, the guy who some of you have met, his name is John McClavery, but we call him the Canadian. He is one. He said, you're not just supposed to be opening up the church, you're actually supposed to be hospitable by opening up your actual homes to other people who you don't know to come in. You need to be hospitable all the time. And he said, and the pastors need to start. And we all looked at him like he was crazy. And now one of us has actually done this, including me. And he came back and he talked about, he said, you know, they talk about Hoosier hospitality. You've heard of Hoosier hospitality? He said, I don't know where they came up with that. Because everywhere else we go in the country and in Canada, we have no problem with, not no problem, he says, but people eventually start to get the idea, and he says, you guys just won't do it. And we talked about it, and came to the conclusion that the problem was that not feeling good enough. That you have to have everything in order. You have to have things clean. You have to have things, you have to have the sugar cream pie ready. You have to have everything together before you can open up your doors. And he's been trying to say, no, you don't. And we still haven't gotten there. I haven't gotten there yet. We're not there. And I'll tell you, I've had some wonderful experiences of hospitality and coming over. But I'm certain that I've had more people say, well, my house is too messy. We'll have to do it another time. I do the same thing. Don't get me wrong. It really is an issue that we're so focused on trying to make sure everything is perfect. And we should know better, right? And at Christmas, we don't need to stop there. Because there's a whole other level to this story. It's about meeting Jesus. It's about meeting Jesus and other people. Maybe it's about meeting Jesus again. Maybe Jesus isn't going to walk in through our doorstep. But one of the things we believe, or Christians believe, is that we can still have an encounter with Jesus. That he's still present. He's still around. He's not gone off to some other place. He's not dead. He's still around. And we each have the chance to meet him. And I wonder how many people, myself included, want to try to get things in order before we let Jesus in. Want to make sure that we're doing things right. Want to make sure that our lives are straight. Want to make sure that we've got everything the way good church people are supposed to make it before we think about being involved. Not even in church, but in that relationship with Jesus, which is a lot more than just a church experience. How easily we forget that Jesus is there to help us clean up. When you have company over, you clean everything up for them. When your family comes over, they help you. Jesus is family to us. And not just any family, our big brother. The guy who's supposed to come in and help us out. The person you call when your roof is caved in. The person you call when your toilet is blocked. The person you call when the furnace is dead to help come in and fix it. That's who Jesus is in our lives. And we spend so much trying to get ourselves to the point where Jesus can come in, because he's supposed to come in first. And then we don't have to try to fix everything. That's the whole point. We can't fix everything in our lives. If we could, we wouldn't need this relationship with Jesus that we talk about. We need to rely on him, on a power greater than ourselves, is the way it's been put. We say, I'm Jesus. To trust in him in that way is that first step towards seeing things change. And it's hard. We always want to believe that we can do it ourselves. But he's there for us. And so today, my invitation isn't to go downstairs and tear out some ceiling tiles. We talked about that in an announcement. Not that I'm saying you should, if you feel so moved. But open yourself up to those encounters with other people, to those encounters with the strangers who might end up on your doorstep, and even more, that person who's not a stranger to you, who's been knocking at the door, waiting to come in. Maybe it is him, but even so, there's always room to hand over a little more of yourself to him. If you want to do that, if you want to come forward, be prayed for, if you want to make that confession of faith, if you want to say that you want a new start, whatever it is, we're going to stand together, we're going to sing Sheltered in the Arms of